Yeah, this spine is a little bound up in this one. Let me see if I can get it to. Oh, there, I got the crease in. Whenever you get these little golden books, you have to make sure you get the crease in, or it'll just keep holding all the pages. Oh, it's a biography. Robert Norman Ross was born on October 29th, 1942, in Daytona Beach, Florida. His mother, Ollie, taught him to love and respect wildlife. Bob learned to make friends with trees. All he had to do was talk to them. Happy little trees. I think this is more of a story one. Might not be a lot of humor. We'll see what we get. Bob's father, Jack, was a carpenter. When Bob was in ninth grade, he decided to quit school and train to be a carpenter too. Bad, not a great decision, but worked out for him. While working with his father, Bob lost the tip of his left index finger to an accident. Oopsie daisy. Uh, Growing up in Florida, Bob would find and take care of injured animals, including snakes, squirrels, and armadillos. Once his parents found him nursing an alligator back up in their bathtub. Oh, God. Could you imagine walking in on that, hoping it's not a giant gator that your kid dragged in there? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
God. Bob decided that woodworking wasn't for him. He joined the United States Air Force when he was 18, and shortly after was sent to live on a base in Alaska. Alaska's dramatic landscapes and snow-capped mountains were unlike anything Bob had seen before. Oh my God! Can you imagine if up there he put a little polar bear into to nurse it back to health?
Yeah. There's a polar bear in the barracks.
Like, Bob, what have you done? What? This polar bear was injured. I'm wrapping its paw. Like, what side? Left, this side. Okay. My camera's in reverse. It's a little funky for me to pick up. Inspired by his surroundings, Bob took his first painting class in Alaska. Though he enjoyed painting, he was frustrated by his teachers, who preferred abstract art to realism. Bob wanted to learn how to paint a tree that actually looks like a tree. Happy little trees. One day while watching TV, Bob discovered a show called The Magic of Oil Painting. The host, a German painter named William Alexander, who lived in Bob's home state of Florida, completed a landscape painting during each 30-minute episode while explaining his technique. Bob was fascinated. There is some real-life controversy in that. We'll avoid that here. Other side. Bill Alexander used an oil painting technique called alla prima, or the first attempt in Italian, also known as wet on wet. Thus, this approach allowed artists to finish paintings quickly by applying new layers of paint without waiting for previous layers to dry. Bob kept watching Bill's shows, and he practiced the wet on wet technique until he mastered it. Before long, Bob was painting landscapes on the backs of gold painting tins and selling it for $25 a piece. Sign. In 1981, Bob retired from the Air Force as a master sergeant and moved back to Florida to study in person with Bill Alexander. Bob even joined Bill's company as a traveling instructor. In one of Bob's painting workshops, he met Annette Kowalski. Annette saw his talent and knew he could be a big success. It's pretty cool. It's a cool biography.
It's a pretty nice little story.
This side. Oh, look at! Oh my God! Because they have drawn enough hair on him. I can't get the focus so I could read this way. At first, the company struggled. Bob's shopping mall painting classes attracted only small audiences. Annette brought local newspaper ads and even set up a telephone hotline to generate buzz. Eventually, the big break came in the form of a TV show. Annette and her husband became Bob's business partners. Together with Bob's wife, Jane, they started Bob Ross Inc., launching a line of paints and brushes. Although Bob's hair was naturally straight, he saved money on haircuts by getting a perm, a curly hairstyle that can last a long time. He really liked the look and became the company's logo, so he never changed it. Lazy haircutting, right? The Joy of Painting aired on January 11th, 1983. Can't get the focus there. On PBS over the next 11 years. Bob would film 403 episodes. In each, he stood in a dark room with a blank canvas with a smudge brush and a palette knife scrape there. He'd bring on imaginary landscapes seen to life in front of into life in half an hour. Okay, sorry about mangled that one, guys. If I were a parent, this book would be cool.
Yeah.
But the joy of painting wasn't just about the masterpieces Bob created. It was about sharing the experience with his viewers. He believed that anyone could be an artist and that art should be accessible to everyone. On his show, he just used 13 paint colors and a handful of tools. Like Bill Alexander, Bob explained his process step by step so viewers could paint along with him. But many people tuned in simply to watch Bob and to listen to his calm, soothing voice as he painted his happy little trees. Bob remained an animal lover his entire life. Occasionally, animals that Bob was helping to rehabilitate appeared on his show. These included a baby raccoon. There's one for you, Jacob. A fawn,
Yeah.
an owl named Hoot, and perhaps the most famous of all, Peapod the squirrel. The Joy of Painting is considered to be the most popular art show in history. People from all over the country and the world tuned into their television and tuned into Bob for inspiration. Bob died on July 4th, 1995, but his legacy lives on today. There are more than 3,000 official Bob Ross instructors worldwide. And although he never received recognition from the art world during his lifetime, you can now find some of his paintings in the Smithsonian's National Museum of American History's permanent collection. Bob Ross didn't just teach people how to paint. He taught people how to believe they could paint. Believe it. So the next time you need a little encouragement, just think of Bob Franklin saying, you can move mountains. You can do anything. Happy little trees. You know, I like this one.
Yeah, that was a good one.
His life, I mean, as far as we know, Bob Ross has he's like Mr. Rogers. They had these inspirational lives that no one could say anything negative about them. You know what I mean? And,
yeah,
it's surprising that Disney could produce this book for kids with all the other anti-kid crap they have. You know what I mean? But
yeah,
this is a 5 out of 5 to me. So,
yeah.
And as much as you will take mine, Jacob, what's your rating, Jacob? By the way,
Yeah, I'd give it I'd give it a 5 out of 5. It's for a kid's book. Yeah, that's great. That's a great pick.
Well, if a kid's book, but also if you didn't know this stuff, I didn't know some of the stuff in here. I knew most of it. Like this is pretty informative even for an adult. You know what I mean? Like it had good information. It had the technique. So you could find. You know what I mean? And so as much as our recommendation means anything for a children's book, right? I think this is pretty dang good.